Hey, everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, our show where we review the latest pop culture releases. And this time we are looking at the third in the trilogy of Venom movies, Venom, The Last Dance, directed by Kelly Marcel, starring Tom Hardy and a bunch of other people. So this one picks up right after
No Way Home.
No Way Home's after credits. So if you remember that, Eddie Brock was in Mexico and they were talking about Thanos. And we get another jab at the multiverse because they did that in Deadpool. And in this one, they're like, the multiverse sucks. So everyone's tired of multiverse. So we get kind of a standard Venom movie. He's got the bad guy. The bad guy this time is Noel, the King in Black, they call him. So he's kind of the creator of the symbiotes.
Was he the bad guy though?
I know.
Or was he you just got an animated intro for him? That's all you got.
So his motivation is the symbiotes rebelled against him, and so they locked him up, we're told. And the key to the lock is called the Codex, which just so happens to be in Venom. So the motivation is he's sending out these alien things to go get Venom and get the Codex. So Venom's on the run from the law because he killed some dudes in Mexico. And they think he killed the guy from the second movie.
Yeah.
And you do you question that?
I don't remember the second movie at all.
The first movie or the second movie?
I don't remember either, actually,
but yeah, so where was I? He's on the run and he goes to Nevada and he meets a family. A family of UFO hunters, UAP hunters. And finally, Noel brings the fight to them to Area 51, where the government has symbiotes. They're like collecting them. And Venom's kind of drawn to that area because they're trying to collect Venom too. So if they believe if they kill Venom or Eddie, they get to stop the Noel guy from coming. So the Noel guy has this power where he can send out guys all over the universe, but he can't go through it for some reason because he's stuck to the chair, I guess.
He's lazy and wants a nap.
So that's pretty much the plot of Venom, I guess, if you could call it that. So, I'm going to have the hot take right away. This was probably the Venom movie I liked the best. I can't say I like any of the Venom movies, but this is the one that I hated the least. So Jared has a whole different opinion, and he's a Venom fan. So Jared, tell us your feelings on Venom: The Last Dance.
I've never been more disappointed in my life at a movie. I wasn't too hyped for this movie. Like when I first saw the first trailer, I was because it was just like him running for the government or whatever. So I was like, oh, I guess it's just him on the run. And then later on, I found out Noel was in it, and I was like, oh, awesome! It's gonna start off this whole thing like from the comic books, and then he would just had a little monologue in the beginning, and then during that monologue, you see these aliens that aren't even symbiotes that he controls, and I was like, why is there these random aliens? And then so after Mexico, like that scene, I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna be good. And then it just like slowly throughout the movie, it's just getting more disappointed, more angry, more sad. There's no Venom in this movie, really. He's just like and then he's dumb. He's like, they've always made him kind of goofy in these movies, but they just took it to a new level in this one where like he's kind of annoying throughout the whole movie.
They supered him like Goku in Goku Super.
Yeah.
And then they added a family for some reason. Like, I guess. And then it just like throughout the movie, I didn't even know what the goal was because like he was just like running around, and then they know that I don't know. I feel like the whole like scientist lady didn't need to be in it.
No.
It was just really bad. I hated this movie. I was so mad throughout the whole movie. Even like the after credit scene, which we'll probably talk about later, I was just like, I guess,
Those are so useless,
I know.
those after credit scenes.
but I don't know. I really like that the story in the comic books because it really makes Venom change. Like he used to be he was a villain, then an anti-villain or like anti-hero, and then in that comic book he becomes a full-fledged like hero, saves everyone, and then this was just like stupid, and I was so mad.
Well, he saved everyone. He saved a couple people.
He saved those dogs.
It saved the
But
dogs.
yeah, I hated this movie.
Michael,
I think Michael's ready to say like, man, I love this movie.
Love?
Venom's my new hero.
Interesting deduction. No, I've not been a fan of any of the Venom movies, least of all this one. So I went in with like my expectations were below the floor, like beneath the planet's crust. I had no expectations for this movie, and it started, and I was like, "Oh, this villain's kind of interesting. We're going a little anime with it. I'm in. I'm down." And then we have the Mexico scene when I'm like, "This is just kind of what Venom is to me. Them goofing off doing things." And I was like, "It's not great, but whatever it is, what it is. They're just goofing off and yeah, having laughs." And then it hit that scientist scene and the military scene, and whatever quality was there dipped so fast for me. I was astonished. The dialogue was horrible. The reasonings were horrible. The character development we'll put in with all those people just absolutely absurd. She runs with her brother, gets struck by lightning, poof, whatever. I don't, and then it's just like so on the nose. The one line of dialogue that stands out so strong for me is whenever they're like, oh, Area 51 is being decommissioned, and her and the military guy are walking down into 55, whatever. He's like, yes, and we are now 100 feet or miles, whatever the heck, below the planet's surface, and we are completely, it's like just this, let me describe what is happening here to you in dialogue. And like, it was so utterly bad. I mean, you couldn't have like tried to care about any of the characters in that bunker in the slightest. And then outside of the bunker, for some reason, we get Rise fans. I don't know how exactly how to pronounce his name, but the dude who played, the lizard man in Spider-Man 2, and it's just like, or one, yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen those in a long time. There you go. And it's just like, why pick that actor? Because everyone's like, oh, this character's back in it. Why? He wasn't. It was just a family that dragged the movie along. There was literally no point to them. The man shot a rocket at the end. We're gonna go to Vegas, whatever. And they didn't do anything with the sphere. I was kind of sad about that. I wanted them to incorporate the sphere. It's like, that thing's so cool. Why not? I don't know. Like, have Venom's face on it or something. I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing is like, there was no plot to this movie. This movie had 0 point through the whole thing. And they're like, the ridiculousness of the fact that, oh, we can only, and it was pretty obvious about it, but he's like, oh, they can only trace us whenever we are together, so we have to be hidden and separate, whatever. Interesting concept to try and bring some complexity to it, but how do they resolve, or how do they push the narrative forward to end in the last sequence? How do they do this? You think, oh, they're gonna have to be forced to come together. No, they dance. He dances in a giant, like, what a penthouse with a lady. He's like, oh, it's worth dancing now because we want to do this. Like, what? There was no, he's so worried about changing. We can't do that. I'm going to float behind you his head. But no, then there's this ridiculous, I mean, it was way too long. There were way too many sequences that were way too long. And then, like, I sent you guys that clip of him bouncing between the frog and the fish and everything like that. And the director's like, yeah, we wanted to go longer. There was going to be an eel. It's like, we didn't need any of these sequences to be longer. The movie was too long because nothing happened in the movie. And to get to the end of the movie, we just danced. And I don't, and I don't know. This movie, I was astonished how bad this movie was. And then they have the fight at the end was very much comic book. It kind of had a little bit more quality to it because it was at least interesting to watch. I think the aliens were animated well. The Venoms looked cool with their individual powers, or something like that. Though they died stupidly. And then like Venom doesn't do anything for 5 minutes, and then he's like, oh, now we're gonna do something now that have 90% of them are dead, whatever. And then the one line whenever the first during the river scene, whenever they're chasing Eddie Brock and the guy gets back, he's like, 3 of my people are dead. I was like, didn't you have like 7 or 8? But he's like, he only cared about 3 of those people. But and then the doctor lady having no compassion whatsoever. She's like, but did they collect any samples? Like, you're so shallow. Have a little bit of interest in your character. Horrible, 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 horrible writing through the whole thing. But then you get like you skip you have a little weird for some reason. The people, the hippies are there and they see aliens. Had a few laughs with them. There was one really funny part where everyone cracked up where he's introducing his kids and he's like, this is, Leaf and whatever the heck. And Venom's like, oh, lifetime worth of therapy. It's like, that was a pretty funny part. And then it gets to the very end. And I was waiting for a punchline. I was waiting for a joke after this music video montage of remembering Venom in the past and everything. And, but no, it literally just ended. And he's like, I'll never forget you, buddy. And then the credits hit, and I was just astonished. I was like, that's literally there's negative thought put into that ending. I was so astonished how bad it was. Literally, Thomas and I, we finished the movie, and it was past all of the animal venoms and everything. And then we finally looked at each other and just started laughing in the theater. We're like, I can't even express how bad this movie was. This movie is horrible. I could not believe how bad it was. I wasn't angry during it because I was interested in how bad it was. But man, I cannot believe. Like I had like, because they kept thinking, oh, we're bringing the trilogy together. We're having little heartfelt moments. And I was like, no, it was horrible. Very, very bad movie. Don't recommend. Everyone I've seen, I'm like, don't watch this movie. Please don't.
All right, Jonah.
Yeah, you're all on the right track. Except Joseph. Yeah, the other Venom movies, they're not like technically good, but they knew what they were because they kind of messed up being serious with the first movie and kind of went in a silly direction. And I actually liked the second one that it just went with that and didn't try to like correct it. And these movies has had that for it, but this one just went so there was just no point to it. Like you said, it was useless. This movie doesn't feel like it feels like it has like one really long like act one and then like an ending.
Yeah.
Because nothing happened. It was just them traveling, no plot, no story, nothing. And then Venom dies. And that feels like just the entire point of this movie is just to kill Venom and nothing else.
Oh, and the setup for that stupid acid thing with the guy where he goes and he says his name.
That was so weird.
I was like, Thomas, I looked at it, I was like, well, what just happened? And then that apparently has reasoning because later on he has to be there for it. And then he just blows it up anyway. I was like,
it was so weird
no
that
thought.
Venom like winks at him or something. He's like, you know what to do. It's like, how does Venom know what to do?
So bad.
And yeah, teasing Null kind of for no reason, just one scene at the beginning. I thought maybe they'd go like when the portals were opening up, they'd go to his like dimension or whatever. No, he's not brought back at all. They're just kind of saying we have this character, we want to use him, but not right now.
Well, he's in the after credits, Jonah.
Yeah, for 1 second. And I guess that's just Marvel's way of introducing a new bad guy, just having him sit in a chair for like 5 movies and then do something. And then the CGI like somehow got worse with this film from the last one because the last one visually it looked cool at least, like Carnage and everything.
Carnage looked cool. Yeah.
This movie looked bad. Like that scene in the cell, like with the green like slime symbiote, that looked horrible.
Little octopus boy.
Yeah.
The acid like Nickelodeon slime falling on him at the end. And yeah, we had Carnage in the last movie. He was kind of cool, and he's like a big villain from the comics. But really, the real villain of this movie is just a big kind of like cockroach monster.
It took forever to kill that thing, man.
I know. It's like weirdly strong for some reason for no point. And it's kind of fun seeing like just a bunch of symbiotes like go crazy at the end. But
yeah,
all I could think the whole ending was like, this is like the ending to like some kind of like sci-fi alien invasion movie or something, like the Sci-Fi Channel or something. And I don't know. I tried to like it from like the first scene, but it's like it's not worth it. Like after 2 or 3 scenes, and it's just bad. And Yeah, like you said, that ending scene of him in New York, it's like they're trying to do the same ending of No Way Home with kind of like this was a big trilogy and there's like a lot of emotion going on, but like there's no emotion in this ending. You're just like, well, that happened.
It felt like it was written like by a 13-year-old, like on a sugar high or something like that.
Just read Venom one time and then wrote this movie.
Like,
I want a horsey.
Yeah, just throw everything in there. We remember that game where you were like the fish and you eat other fish and you get bigger. It's like, let's do that. And then, yeah, like you said, the ending, the fight at least was kind of cool with the soldiers and everything. There is a rumor that Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 is called King in Black, so maybe we will see Noel.
But now we have no Venom, so it's just Spider-Man versus Noel.
Maybe we'll see him come back. But yeah, I was not a big fan of the first two, so this one was like, all right. At least we get an alien invasion. That family, though, the doctor, everything was useless. The Vegas scene, with him getting like peed on, and it's like, ugh.
Oh, I know.
And then for some reason he has no shoes for the whole thing, and they think that's really funny. Him not having shoes.
All of Vegas could have been cut out and nothing would change.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He starts like with the SWAT teams like before Vegas, and he's with them after Vegas. So he just went back to where he was.
That's not true. We needed the title to get into the movie, so he had to have that last dance with Mrs. Whatever her face the name is. Just so they could call it Venom the Last Dance.
You don't need a dance to call it Venom the Last Dance.
And then I told him, Tom Hardy. Oh, go ahead.
Even like the emotional moments were stupid because, like with the kid, he's like, "There's no aliens; they don't exist." And then, like 10 minutes later, I lied. There are aliens.
I lied, buddy. Thanks for the chocolate.
And then Venom's like, "Oh, you did a real good job lying."
I know. It's like I don't think that was the takeaway we were getting from this.
What was I going to say? The scientist, the family, Vegas. You didn't need.
Tom Hardy looks like he's asleep.
Oh yeah, I was telling him Tom Hardy in all these movies just looks like he got out of bed and went to the set. It's like
he woke up on set and then started filming.
And there was one part where his voice did a weird thing, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" His like accent for Venom.
Oh,
yeah, because I don't know. That was just a very bizarre choice for the the voice of Venom and Eddie at the same time. Because it's like Eddie wants to talk like Venom most of the time. Because he does that weird American voice where it's like really deep. So it sounds like he's just trying to talk like Venom, and then he is Venom. So it's weird, but that was the trilogy we got, guys.
That was the grand ending. This had to be just written for money because the other two sold, and they're like, people go see this. Let's just get it out. Like, there's no way they thought this was good. There can't be a possibility that people thought yes when they're making this.
Towards the end, I was like, man, I hope something cool happens. Like anything happens. Maybe Morbius will show up and it's Morgan time or something. But
yeah, maybe the Sony universe will come together. We got Morbius. We got Venom.
Oh man,
I'm surprised they didn't.
So does this give you guys hope for Kraven the Hunter?
Oh no, so much less hope. So that trailer played before, and it's like this is one of those. We had two trailers play back to back. There was that new one with Selena Gomez, which I don't know if it came in your theater or not, but it's like it was a really good trailer. Like it didn't tell you anything, but it just set the tone of what it was, and I was like, that was a good trailer. Immediately after, you got Kraven trailer, shows the whole movie, and I was like, yeah. I don't know. I have no idea about that. I forget. I keep forgetting it. For one, I think it already came out in my brain. Like I'm like, that's been shown forever, and then I'm like, two, I forget it exists. So I don't know though.
I guess. Any last thoughts on this one?
What was the end sequence? I didn't understand. Jared said we might touch on it, but I don't know anything about it. You had the dude from Ted Lasso come out of the cavern and he ran off. And
then, that was weird.
Oh, I don't know.
And then I showed the anime boy in the cave thing.
Yeah, that was the weirdest after credits. Like there was a cockroach and there was lightning, and it's like, what does this mean?
I don't know if he was supposed to be a character.
It's not really, but
I know nothing.
It's like,
nothing.
didn't they mention like in the movie she's like cockroaches live?
Yeah, there's something about like a.
What does that have to do with it?
There's a cockroach.
I mean, of a symbiote.
Cockroach get a symbiote on it or something, and
They can't pronounce symbiote in these movies.
Well, remember the first movie with the first
Symbiote?
trailer?
Or something.
oh yeah,
Symbiote.
about
The start of this
What
one, they kept
planet are
calling
you
it
on?
like symbiote kind of.
Yeah,
like,
they did. They kind of mixed it. Symbidiot.
dude, the army guy. They make him look bad, and they do like this kind of. They kind of try to make it political, like because he's like, the whole alien things. Aliens are bad, and they're like they're not bad, and then he kind of gets redeemed at the end because he's the guy that blows up the thing, and it's just I don't know where they're going
Also,
with that.
Eddie's just under a door. The whole
Yeah.
place explodes. The door's gone, and he's just fine. It's like, what are we
was
doing?
gone.
Oh my! I don't know.
All right. Any last thoughts on Venom: The Last Dance?
Don't watch it.
Don't.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Don't
Parental
watch
advisory.
Just don't watch it.
All right, so that's going to do it for this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye.